Deputy President David Mabuza says government is making progress in curbing illegal mining. He's called it a pandemic and detailed the arrests that have been made so far. In the meantime, Mineral Resources Minister Gwede Mantashe has weighed in. He's in fact called it a criminal activity and not an economic one. Let's speak about this with Willem Els, who's with the Institute for Security Studies. Willem, a very good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for being with us. So if this is a pandemic, and it's been a long-standing problem, why has the same government failed to nip it in the bud?
Good afternoon to you. Yeah, that is a very good question. You know, prior to my engagement with the Institute for Security Studies, where I am, I was in the police service, and as far back as the early 2000s, we had operations in the areas of Welkom as well as on the West Rand, where this illegal mining was already ongoing and the criminality increased to such an extent that one of my members was shot in the leg by one of the illegal miners down in the mine, and another one got injured when his lung burst when an IED, an improvised explosive device, was hurled at him while down under in the mine, about 2 kilometers down under the ground. So this has been going on for a long time. There's been some sensitization towards government, but unfortunately, until now, not much seemed to have been done for that. You know what? When we were there, our biggest concern was if you arrest the illegal miner with some GBM, that's your gold-bearing material, or you're arresting with a firearm, or you're arresting with some stolen equipment, etc., etc., you had a case against him. But if you find him some 2 kilometers under the ground, and there's nothing else with him, then you arrest him for trespassing, because there's simply no legislation in place to regulate what is going on at the moment.
But of course, and government, including the Deputy President, has given itself quite a pat on the back for the establishment of a special task team. This was in 2019. In Parliament yesterday, the Deputy President rattled off numbers to the tune of 4,000 plus arrests of illegal miners which have been made. But would you agree then that until demand is addressed, this industry, illegal or not, will not die?
It will not die. I agree with you. Your challenge is, you know, you can start with a task team. A task team is a wonderful idea to work. That is a principle that has been working. If you want to curb something in terms of law enforcement, and so that is on the one hand. But on the other hand, you know, if you don't have the proper legislation and the proper regulatory instruments in place that regulate the whole industry, we're fighting a losing battle. The situation is just too big to control. For one, you have your porous borders. So access towards South Africa is increasingly on the increase from illegal immigrants. We also see that the majority of those people that have been arrested, many of them came from Lesotho, Mozambique, and all the other countries. That is the one problem. The other problem is we've got a lot of mines. You've got on the West Rand, in Gauteng, you've got a lot of mines. In the Northwest Province, you've got mines that are being affected. In Mpumalanga, you've got some mines. In Northern KwaZulu-Natal, you've got some mines that are being affected. Even as far as Port Nolloth in the Northern Cape, you've got illegal mining activities ongoing. So this is not something that is located just to Krugersdorp, where this whole thing erupted.
Who is buying these minerals?
Okay, that is a very good question. You know, because if you look, and we focus on transnational organized crime in our work at NIT, and when you work with and focus and look at transnational organized crime, you've got a hierarchy. You've got almost we refer to it as a pyramid of hierarchy in terms of this organized crime syndicates. So the guy on the ground that is doing the illegal mining, he's the foot soldier. At the top, you've got your kingpins. In the middle, it goes down to your hierarchy of your buyers and your organizers, recruiters, etc., etc. Those are the guys that are making money. It's not the guy on the ground that is making that big money. So what we found is that you know, as with money, your gold also needs to be washed if it's illegal. If you've got illicit money, it must be washed in order to grant access to the mainstream money flow. The same with gold. And indications are that one of the methods being used by these organized crime syndicates is that they sell these gold to your second-hand gold jewelry shops and your pawn shops. And then this gold is being melted together with the second-hand jewelry that these people then buy off, and then they sell it, all the gold as second-hand jewelry that has been melted, and they export that towards Dubai and other centers.
And is enough being done to crack down on this trade, this illicit trade, from that aspect? Because it's one thing to raid mine dumps and round up thousands of people, but as we were reflecting a short time ago, as long as someone is willing to buy, people will sell.
Correct. You are so right. You know, what we're doing now with arresting the illegal miners, that's also scratching the surface. If you can't cut off the head of the serpent, the demand will be there. And as long as the demand is there, once you arrest this guy, there are 10, 15, 20 people in his place that will come and replace him from neighboring countries and also from the unemployed within South Africa. So it is very important that they start to focus on getting to know these syndicates, get the intelligence right in the first place on these syndicates, and then also start with the investigation, proper investigation, and then, of course, use the rule of law and bring these guys to court.
Formalization of what has been termed artisanal mining has often been proposed as a solution to this. The argument there has been that you've got something down there beneath the surface which, yes, is not lucrative enough for the big mining companies to dig up and sell, but people are going down there because they do find something. Would formalizing this as an actual trade go a long way in putting an end to the other crimes that stem from disused mine dumps and the lack of regulation around who goes in there?
You know, that is one of the options that they can look at, but that is not the golden wand that's going to solve the problem, because if you want to deregularize it and decriminalize it, you're going to have to regulate it. In order to regulate it, you will need some instruments. You need some apparatus in order to regulate it. You know, South Africa loses to the amount of 7 billion rand per year is lost in revenue due to illegal mining. But we do not invest enough in order to counter this. Another challenge is, remember, South Africa mining has been going back for hundreds of years. And it's been regulated, it's been fairly well regulated in the past. It's only in recent years, since I would say the early 2000s, where we saw a surge in the illegal mining. So that tells me that if those instruments have been in place to regulate it, it was fairly well in place, it was working well, what went wrong? Isn't there a lack of will? Isn't there a lack of resources? Maybe the focus is not on that, or are we just putting our heads in the sand, like we refer to the ostrich, according to this, in order to solve this problem? That is a challenge. You know, it's easy to now refer quickly to refer and to focus on something else, when we have to sit down, take responsibility, take ownership of this challenge, and invest in order to solve the problem.
Willem Els, good to speak to you. Thank you, sir.